Hi.
Hi, everybody. Tim Hughes here. I'm the CEO and co-founder of DLA Ignite. Today, I've got Sajna Rahim with me.
Rahman, sorry.
And sorry. and today we're going to talk about how to take control of your career in uncertain times. Before we get started, Sajna, where can people find you?
Oh, people can find me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and my email address as well, which is hello@sajnarahman.co.uk.
Okay, and just so, because some people watching, English isn't necessarily their first language.
Mm-hmm.
So your name is Sajna.
Yeah.
Rahman.
That's correct, Tim. Yes.
Perfect. I got it right the second time.
Yes, you did.
So taking control of your career, I thought it was just useful to start for some context about your journey. Because you've had a really interesting journey from you started off as a receptionist, and then you moved into sales, and you've done that through it's not that you had a methodology, but there was a method in the way that you worked to do that. So explain to people about your journey.
Okay. First of all, Tim, thank you so much for inviting me.
You're welcome.
To your platform. I think it's a really, really important subject to sort of cover in this current climate. So just a bit about me. I've recently left into 2019, end of 2019, my 24-year corporate career. And yes, I was a receptionist at the beginning, 24 years ago, when I first started out. And what you talked about methodology, see, I didn't have a plan. I just was so excited about moving forward and climbing up the career ladder. And at the time, at my early stage, I did not really see any barriers. It was only after, as I came up to certain seniority, that's when things started to be put in me, like to sort of chip away my confidence, where you can't have that position because you're a woman, you can't do this because you're Asian, you're Muslim, all these elements that people put into sort of limits your self-belief. So then I learned the power of networking really 10 years ago, and it was through that and communicating powerfully and through enthusiasm and passion. Those are really important factors. Through the enthusiasm of meeting people and just sharing what I love. It didn't have to be about the job, just generally talking about me really got to where I'm at today, got me to create events for other people. So networking and leveraging the power of my network has really helped me cultivate my career to where it has come.
So today we're talking about taking control of your career. Yes. That's something that you've done.
Yes,
you've done that, and so while you started off without a methodology, in a way, you have created a methodology. But why is it important to take control of your career? What is it? What's the benefit it's brought to you?
Well, especially if we look at what's happening now, we're constantly bombarded with endless news about companies shutting down, downsizing, risk of redundancies, and generally a lot of people are feeling stuck in their roles, feeling undervalued, overworked, not being seen, tired of watching other people who are less experienced or less qualified climb up the career ladder and wonder why. There is a way. There's always been a way. And I've spent the last 10 years speaking to leaders, CEOs in businesses where you don't need to have qualification to climb up the career ladder. We all want more money. We all want to have a great lifestyle, but there is a way. There is a way to get that promotion. There is a way to get the job that you love to do. But the important thing is to understand is how to do it. And that's what I want to talk about.
Yeah. And so one of the things that you talk about is about investing in time to learn about yourself. So what does it mean by that? Because I think a lot of us think we know about ourselves because, but in fact, we're in the current situation, if we've been furloughed or been laid off, we're being given the gift of time. And I know it may not feel like that because I've been laid off, and I know what it feels like. I'm sympathetic to that. But what is it that we need to do to learn about ourselves?
Okay, that's a very important question. We are so invested in learning about others, learning about other people's successes. We're constantly scrolling through the next motivational speaker that's going to give us the answer, or reading the next self-help book. I'm not saying don't do all that stuff, do it. But the greatest thing you can do is invest in learning about you. Not just that, learning how to learn about you. I mean, I've got great value from speakers, from books, but it was only until I started to really entertain the profound information, say, that I've learned, and through repetition and through believing in it that I could do it, that's how I've seen significant growth within me. So in order to learn about the information that other people have shared that contributed to their success, in order for it to work for you, you have to learn how to apply it to you.
So what have you done? How did you go about learning about yourself?
So I've been constantly, getting information from different people. So learning about myself. So I talked about the networking that I did. So what I ended up doing unknowingly is creating my own personal boardroom. Right. So these own personal boardroom are with people, inspirational people that I've met through networking, who've invested time in me to sit down with me and share with me their wisdom, share with me their career path. So I was able to take all that information and apply it to my career pathway. So whether I needed to learn about finance, whether I needed to learn about like commercial marketing, I've always had someone who had that knowledge for me. So it's almost like having your own group of mentors and coaches in your own table. So how I learn about myself is understanding what I enjoy doing, how I like learning, what information really sinks into me. But by knowing that, you're able to build your confidence and repeating and having that consistency within you to keep doing that. And then it becomes a habit.
And it's interesting for me, the fact that you're sitting here because one of your network referred me to you.
Yes, absolutely.
And that individual, Funke, I would say probably is one of those people sitting in that inner. Yeah. And I think there's a thing where all of us need to have that close knit of network that we can, the people that we can ring up and say, can you help me on this? And they will help you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And by learning how to learn about yourself, Tim, you are able to build that self-image that we all have. It's how we see ourselves. That's where all our limited beliefs stem from. So once you know yourself, know where your weaknesses are, know what's stopping you from making that move, know what's stopping you from being visible, being heard, that's the only way you can actually fix that problem, is to build your self-belief and self-confidence.
So that's about it's about learning about yourself, and then it's about improving your self-image. And you said something there about limited beliefs. So that's that's about the things that stop us.
Yeah.
I've been sitting here thinking, apart from listening to you, about how bad I am at names. But there again, when I say that, what I'm doing is validating. Yes. I'm validating myself that I'm bad at names. Yeah. And what I need to do is tell myself that I'm not bad at names.
Yeah.
because then I don't have that self-validation. So that's about limiting those belief systems.
Yeah. And your energy flows wherever you focus on. So exactly what you said, if you're focusing on what you can't do, you're going to do more of that.
Yes.
You won't remember names. So when you put your energy into what you want, which takes us nicely to the next bit, what I want to talk about is the actual designing of your career.
Right.
So the desire, what do you want to do? So that comes with what you're good at, your passion, and you find the answer. That's when you self-discover what you really want to do. Then you're able to design that career. And then you absolutely have to write it down. You have to visualize.
I was going to say, is this about having an affirmation of saying, this is what I'm going to do, and reading that every day?
Yeah. Well, affirmation is definitely a good tool. But the important thing is, if you don't visualize where you want to be and design where you want to go, so it's almost like intentions and goals and all that stuff. The visualization is there, and the next step would be to get clarity. So I only started to see results is when I was clear to the people I wanted to help me, speaking about what I want to do concisely and clearly, they were able to help me.
Right.
So that's the most important thing, is to get clarity in your desire, what you want to do, where you want to work.
So it's about understanding where you are, and working out then where you want to go, and then what do you do? Do you write it down? Is that, now, if you look at most when you do affirmations, if you do affirmations, you gradually move to that position. But there's also a certain amount of, you need to do something about it as well, because not everything in life comes to you.
Yeah. The biggest killer, Tim, is procrastination, and I've been guilty of that. Procrastination is the biggest killer, I find, and all successful people will tell you, when you write it down on a piece of paper, it becomes real. It becomes real. It's something that you can go to and you can measure yourself.
Yeah.
So without writing it down, it's not real.
Because you can always say, well, I don't feel like it today. I'm going to do something else. Yeah. So just to an example, I decided back in 2015 that I didn't want to carry on selling accounting systems anymore. I wanted to do social media and interview people, and stuff like that. And so I did a change, but I did two things. One is, it took longer than I wanted, and that's because I didn't write it down. So you would always, I'm not going to do it today, or it's never going to happen. And two, I procrastinated about it. And part of that was because I was waiting. It was always easier to sit in a corporate role and take money every month than was it to actually do what I wanted to do. And just so happened that I got made redundant, which was nice. So that was the thing that forced me. But there's a lot of people right now that are in a situation where they're either being laid off or being furloughed, and they're being given an opportunity to change their lives.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I do get that. I mean, in my role, because I was having roles created for me, some of these roles weren't assigned to contracts. So at some point I was in that position of redundancy. But what was happening is, because I was valuable and visible, I got put on to another part of the business, and then another part of the business. So I was always valuable to the organization. So that's another important thing as well. When you start taking control, we must use that word, control of your career, you become visible, and it's a plan, and you've got it written down, and you're executing it all the time, and it stops the procrastination. Because I think where I found where I was procrastinating is not making the move. I would have made the move, leaving the corporate world a long time ago.
Yeah.
had I had that belief system in me then.
Yeah.
I was attracting all those good people. So which is why all these inspirational coaches, which is why once I started to invest in myself in a coach, they were able to help me find those answers. And eventually it was so easy to make that decision.
And do you think that a coach or a mentor is important?
Oh, absolutely, without a doubt. I mean, I would advise people to invest in a monetary way in a coach because
you're investing in yourself.
Yes, because you're investing in yourself. Of course, you can have as many mentors as you can, but you need to find the right coach for you. You need to find the right mentor for you who is actually going to challenge you and keep you accountable. That's where I had the problem of procrastinating, because I wasn't kept accountable to things. And I think when you have your plan, and you have an accountability partner, there's no way you can fail. You will progress. And that's what I found. So sometimes it's hard to have people that know you mentor you. So I've got, and you know, it's because I guess it's great to have them as a great network for you, who are always going to champion you and cheerlead you on. But at the same time, what I also found powerful as well, and I think is an important thing, one of my mentors have always said to me, pay it forward. So I found while I was in my corporate role, while I was getting mentored, I was paying it forward to other people. And that was a great, beautiful thing, because by helping other people, I was seeing growth as well. So I was teaching what I was learning to other people. And that kind of went into that whole tomorrow meets today model, actually. So, so yes, my message is to definitely invest in yourself with a coach or a mentor.
And I think, you say, about the accountability is so important. Especially when you take action, it's being able for someone to say, why haven't you done this?
Yeah.
And that's quite often going back to your belief system, saying that you can't do it. And we've all probably been in situations in our lives where we feel that we can't do something, and really we can, because pretty much anybody can do pretty much anything. Jeff Bezos, who's the most richest man in the world, he doesn't necessarily have any better qualifications than you, or isn't more likable than you, or whatever. So he happened to be in the right place at the right time. But we generate our own luck, don't we?
Yeah, no, definitely. We probably could go into another conversation, but I strongly fundamentally believe our education system, we don't get taught the soft skills in school, the networking and all those wonderful things that we learn from people, like
So one of the things that you've done is that you learn about networking, and then what you've done is that you've used social media as a way of scaling that networking, haven't you?
Yes, absolutely.
So tell us about how you've done that and how you've used social media is to help you in your journey.
So with social media, I reluctantly got on there, Tim, because this was probably like 9 years ago. So it's to promote events, because I was part of a lot of committee, and again, unconsciously, I was great at it. I adopted the name of Queen of Twitter because I was so good at it. And I didn't put any thought to it. I just thought, I needed to get more people to come to my events, get my events to trend on Twitter, get it to #1. And I've achieved all that. And LinkedIn is such a powerful network, I can't tell you. Most of my connections, most of the people that sit on my personal boardroom are from approaches on LinkedIn, because I love what they do. I comment on in things that I like seeing. And again, it was years ago where I didn't know, I need to do that to get that powerful connection. I was doing that authentically, and I was building relationships authentically. I would just ask, can I meet you for a coffee? And no one said no. So that's how I met my powerful connections, and then obviously through live events and stuff. And then I'm new to Facebook as well, and that's because I really stayed away from Facebook throughout all the years, but I'm leveraging the power of Facebook now and Instagram. And the new thing I think I've spoken to you about before is TikTok.
Oh yeah.
Yes, and I think.
Are you on TikTok?
I am on TikTok.
Okay.
I'm on TikTok, and I'm experimenting, Tim.
Okay.
I'm experimenting.
I'm going to search for you and check you out.
Okay. And I think social media is moving fast.
It is, yeah.
It's moving fast. I'm finding less engagement on Twitter, more on LinkedIn, and I'm trying to get a plan together for TikTok. And I think they've got 1.5 billion people, I hear, are using TikTok, and it's not for everybody. And I think that's what they think. It's not for everybody. I try to see what business people like me are doing on Twitter. And it's everything in one. It's Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. It's everything in one. And creating those videos and in an edit button, just having one like inspirational message to the world. And there's more chance of you to go viral on TikTok than in any other platform. So it's definitely caught my attention, Tim. And I am going to learn. I'm not so confident yet, but I'm still experimenting.
So there's two things about social media. One is that you connected with people, but I think the other thing is that you worked out a way of also how you reached out to people, you brought them into your network, you then met with them, and then you built a relationship with them.
Yeah. That's basically how it happened. And now I've got the methodology. I can like teach that to people. There's a lot of people that are on social media that are lurking, whether it's that self-image of, oh, I can't comment on that, whether it's that's for them to sort of find out. So that's where you can build that self-image and really start that engagement, especially now. Now, when we're talking about taking control of your career, most leaders are on social media using that as a platform to keep their staff engaged. So imagine how powerful it would be if you start popping up and this leader does not know where you are in an organization, but start noticing you when you're starting commenting about what you're up to in this furloughed time, in these uncertain time. And when you start commenting them, they would recognize you.
Yes.
Your name will be in their mind because you've commented. So that's how you get seen, get visible, and then you can start talking about what you're about.
And in terms of commenting, all you're doing is you're just being yourself.
Yes.
You're not sitting there going, oh, what am I going to talk about? You're just using your personality.
Absolutely. And it's so important to be authentic because people can see through when you're saying, oh, I love your stuff. And then what do you love about it? And then you can't answer. You don't want to be in that position. So you need to be really, because once they start following you, you've got the option of DMing them privately. Yeah. And then you can have a great conversation. And I've actually had great conversation on DM. And I think people have told me that they're, because of my enthusiasm, it's infectious. And because of the passion that I have, and I'm very clear about that, how I want to help people, how I believe everyone's got it within them to be great. They believe that. Because I believe it. And I'm giving that message out. So that's how you get people drawn into the crust of your message.
That's fantastic. So in terms of your recommendation is to take control of your career, invest in time about learning about yourself, and improve your self-image. So get rid of those belief systems that are limiting you. Then it's about having clarity and actually writing it down.
Yeah,
we both, I love that. And then it's about having, when you're taking action, it's about having accountability.
Oh, yes.
and probably having at least having a coach or a mentor to do that.
Absolutely. Name me a successful person that didn't have a mentor or coach.
Everybody does.
Yeah.
There's a book called The $1 Trillion Coach, and the reason why it was the $1 Trillion Coach is that he was the coach to the two guys that run Google, Steve Jobs, all people around Silicon Valley. And when you added up all the turnovers of all the companies, it comes to $1 trillion. And if Steve Jobs is having a coach, then everybody should. If Steve's one of the greatest leaders, and it's something that I think everybody should have, someone who you can talk to. Before we finish up, though, talk to us about Tomorrow Beats Today.
Okay, so Tomorrow Meets Today is an event. It's a live event that brings together future leaders who are tomorrow and today's inspirational leaders. So our events takes the noise away from normal networking event and allows people to connect on a deeper level to build those relationships. So I'll give you an example. We held events that we got leaders and future leaders to cook together.
Lovely.
Together, because that's how I enjoyed building those connections with those leaders, and I wanted to provide the opportunities for other future leaders to have that, and it has worked tremendously. It's been running for 6 years, coming up to 6 years now. Now, obviously, with current situation, I am actually looking to get a coaching business, coaching aspect out of that with the same format. Tomorrow Meets Today, like online. So watch out for that, Tim. I may be back talking about that soon.
I can imagine I'll be on the phone, yeah.
Yeah. So, and it just grew, and the recognition for this. For Tomorrow Meets Today came last year in November 2019 when we won an industry award for achievement in diversity. And the reason why we won the achievement in diversity, because the crust of Tomorrow Meets Today is for those future leaders who are underrepresented, whether it's through their diversity or who are just generally underrepresented. And it works both ways. I've had leaders talk to me about they're looking for talent in the industry and they can't find it. So I've helped the leaders, here are the talents. So it worked out beautifully. And it just started off from just wanting to make a difference in my industry because I didn't like the diversity in this male-dominated environment.
Yeah, the last thing you needed is white male middle class people. I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the process of your growing process, which is for you to understand who you are and what you want to be. That there needs to be you can put out a roadmap, but it's good to have somebody that you can look to and say, I'd like to be like that. Well, not quite like that, but that's I know that my business partner Adam Gray's daughter she's 19 in 2 months, and she said to her, Daddy, who is it that I need to look up to? And there isn't enough female leaders. And I say to any female, you need to move into leadership, because there's a whole generation of people that are looking for people that they can look up to, and it's important that everybody punches through the glass ceiling, so that the next generation have something to aspire to.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
The last thing we want is another world full of white, bald, middle-aged men.
Oh, there's many of us doing that work, and I have been doing that work for the past 10 years, Tim, and that's why I created Tomorrow Meets Today, because whilst in that championing of diversity, without realizing I became a role model, without realizing I've been called to speak at school, without realizing, but there's a great responsibility in becoming that role model.
Yeah.
And and it's only recently, just before lockdown, the Friday before lockdown, I went back to my school.
Wow.
And which is a girls' school that I went to. And Tim, it broke my heart just seeing how far we've come, which wasn't far at all. Where I think we have come so far, going back to that young, tender age, I think it was 13, 14-year-old that I spoke to, with no ambition, with not knowing the soft skill, not knowing what they wanted to be. And I think there are so many organizations that are working with school to get those role models into their schools and speak. There's not enough. There could be more. And I will absolutely help organization to do that. So I do volunteer speaking for free at schools.
Yeah, good.
It's really important to me to give that back. And I think 13, 14, not everyone knows what they want to be at that age. But really, definitely, when they go into that 16, 17-year-old, that's when we should really...
they may not do, but the important thing is that the different types of people are put in front of them and say, here's an example of what you could do. Here's an example of what you could do. Here's an example, and to put role models in front of them and say, these are the things and the options that you have, because the important thing is to get people to understand that they do have choices.
Yeah. And can I say something? You talked about the glass. You talked about the glass ceiling. I'm going back to how I was fearless at the age of 20 as a receptionist. I see no glass ceiling.
No.
It's all about mindset.
It is, yeah.
The moment you see a glass ceiling, you'll have everything putting you down. And I want people to be in that mindset. There's no glass ceiling.
There isn't. And you know, and the more and it's important that people rise above that, because it's not just about them, it's about the next generation that's going to come through. And we need to see, we don't have enough female leaders in this world, apart from probably the Prime Minister of New Zealand. You know, we don't have enough female leaders in this world for anybody to say, this is what I want to do that, and I'm going to make a change. And the more that we can do that, and the more that we can do, you said pay it forward. It's also, I quite often say, pass on the baton. You know, it's about bringing, it's about making sure that we're giving the next set of people the ability to move on, and that they actually feel confident to move on as well. Yeah. Sorry, I'm talking too much.
No, you're absolutely right. And there is organization like We Are the City. I don't know if you've heard of them. Vanessa Valelli, who is also my mentor. She's doing phenomenal stuff to shine a light on women who are rising to the top, and it's her mission to get them to the leadership, like stuff. So I congratulate everyone that's doing that. The fight continues, but everyone's got different ways of contributing. Everyone has a different way to contributing, and we must never stop. We must never stop. And especially with me, not just being a woman of ethnicity, that's another whole debate as well. Being Bang, it's another label, but there's a responsibility as well of that. And I know what's important to me, what I want to see in the future. I want to see more Bang people, more women in leadership. It's all about equity, equality, all that wonderful stuff. And, we will achieve that one day. Stats show us it's going to be another 100 years, but no, let's not. 100 years. Definitely hope to see it in my lifetime, Tim.
So Sajna, remind everybody where they can find you.
LinkedIn is where you can find me, and you can find me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram,
TikTok,
and even TikTok. TikTok, messing around with my nieces and nephews. But yeah, I'm on there. You can find me.
It's been fantastic. It's been really insightful, and I think it's great that you not only walk the walk but talk the talk. You've been on this journey, and you're willing to share that journey and share your the you know, what you've learned, and you know, the mistakes as well as the positives from it. And I hope, even if it's just one person that makes a change, I think, you know, it's worth it. Thank you.
No, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you. I really enjoyed our chat. And
good.
Keep in touch, Tim.
And I'll see you on LinkedIn.
Yes, thank you.
Bye.